all, what is KEDS? KEDS stands for Kidney Early Detection Screening. It's a free community-based public health intervention where we test people for major kidney disease risk factors such as diabetes or cardiovascular disease. We also offer biometric tests, and it's to give participants an idea of what their risk is for the condition. We basically look for red flags. At these screenings, we don't make any diagnoses, but we alert people to these warning signs so they can follow up with their primary care physicians. The tests that we provide at these screenings include blood pressure, weight, height, waist circumference, urine dipstick for protein, blood sugar, or sometimes we also offer a blood draw for other tests including cholesterol, anemia, and sometimes eGFR, which is the estimated glomerular filtration rate. And we also, at the last station, offer what we call an exit interview or a clinician consultation, where the participant can sit one-to-one with a practitioner, such as a nurse, doctor, pharmacist, dietitian, and really get personalized information about what their individual risk is, or how their results compare to quote-unquote normal values. Who is involved in these screenings? So aside from a few National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii staff, we depend solely on volunteers for these events. And we utilize help from various schools of nursing, medical lab techs, med students, pharmacy students, etc. And we also depend heavily on working professionals already in the field, such as phlebotomists, doctors, nurses, etc. For participants, in order to qualify for this screening, you only need to be 18 years and older. The tests really aren't calibrated for individuals under 18. And you also don't need to have insurance as well. So anybody from the public over 18 can come to our screenings. When are these screenings provided? So we provide these events several times throughout the year, typically between 4 and 8 times a year, and we do it at various locations around the state, including our neighbor islands, not just Oahu. So on average, maybe about 2 times a year, we will visit a neighbor island. So why do we conduct these screenings? So kidney disease is a very serious and rapidly growing public health problem. It is a condition that is considered silent or asymptomatic, meaning that a lot of people are walking around with the condition but aren't aware of it. Currently in the United States, an estimated 26 million people have chronic kidney disease, or what we refer to as CKD, and that equals to about 1 in 9. In Hawaii, our rates are dramatically higher. They equal to about 1 in 7 in Hawaii. People who are at risk include those who have diabetes, hypertension, or family history, which means a close relative such as a parent or a sibling with diabetes, hypertension, or kidney disease. Once a person's kidneys fail, they require transplantation or dialysis in order to survive. So the goal really of these screenings are to alert people before it's too late. Okay, so the typical KEDS screening involves about 5 stations. The first station is registration, where participants sign in and get their paperwork. The second station is our physical measurement station, which is blood pressure, weight, height, and waist circumference. The third station is our urine testing, where we do a dipstick for protein. The fourth station would be our blood draw station, where we either do a finger stick for blood sugar, or we sometimes do a venous blood draw in the case where we are able to provide other tests. The last station would be our clinician consultation, where a nurse, doctor, dietitian, or pharmacist can speak with each individual one-to-one about their results. The first station is registration, where participants come, sign in, and receive their paperwork, which is a 2-part carbon copy form that looks like this. In the upper right-hand corner, there will be a 3-digit ID number ranging from 001 through 150, and this will identify the individual throughout the screening. At the registration table, they are responsible for filling out just only the top portion of the paperwork, because from the bottom or the middle down is where you as a volunteer will be inputting their measurements. So the top portion consists of their personal information as well as their family history for risk factors for kidney disease. At the very bottom, participants also sign what we have here as a waiver, and they also date it. This is the physical measurement station, and this is the first procedure that we usually do. It's height. We usually start with the least invasive measurements. So it's kind of a warm-up so participants don't get shell-shocked when they start. So I'm going to start with height. So, hi, how are you? I'm Jill.
Hi Jill, it's Mary.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. So I'm just going to have you take off your shoes for a moment, and if you don't mind just standing against the wall. And just stand all the way straight. If you could just move a little bit to your right. Perfect. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is have the participant remove their shoes and stand with their back flush against the wall, and just keep your head just level, straight. Yep, perfect. And then you're going to take your flat surface and just gently place it. I'm just going to put this right on top of your head, if you don't mind. And you want to keep it as level as possible. So it is 5'7". Thank you. You can step away and you can put your shoes back on. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Leave those off. Okay, so what you want to do is record that result on the front first line here, the second line rather, in the first section. Okay. So the second measurement that we do at physical measurements is the weight. So while the person's shoes are still removed, we have them step on the scale that we have here. So why don't you go ahead and stand on the scale. And just make sure that they're not holding on to anything or touching anything. Okay, so, okay, thanks. So once you get their measurement or their weight measurement, it'll be it'll have a decimal place, but we want you to just round off that number, whether it's up or down. We just want you to have a nice round number, no decimal places. And then you will also just record that in the first section here, like so. Some other pointers to note for the weight measurement is that if it's 0.5 or higher, you can round the weight up. If it's 0.4 or lower, just round it down and note that round number on the sheet here. Other side notes to remember: in the rare case that there's an individual who is extremely overweight and perhaps exceeds the capacity of this scale to take their measurement, just simply ask, just to avoid any kind of awkwardness or just to be very sensitive to the individual, you can just ask them for what their weight is, their estimated weight, and record it here as well based on what they tell you. Fortunately, this is a screening and it's not as though we were going to make any kind of major diagnoses, so you can definitely go ahead and do that just to be sensitive to the individual. Alright, so for the third measurement for physical measurements is the waist circumference, and this is also very straightforward. So what you want to do is have the participant come towards you, and just, if you don't mind lifting your arms up a little bit, you're just going to look for their belly button area, and you want to just put the measuring tape across that area. So excuse me while I reach around you. And then you want to kind of pull the measuring tape taut, just to make sure there's no finger space between between the tape and the person's body. Okay, so you take that. Got it, perfect, thank you. And then you write that as well in the margin of the sheet. Unfortunately, we just started to do this measurement, so we don't have a particular prompting for it, so you just want to write it in the right margin. So one more thing to note when you're recording the participant's waist circumference, do in this case include the decimal place, just one decimal place.